right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Brand to Table podcast. Today we have another amazing guest I found through social media. Where else, right? This individual has been in the space probably over 20 years now. He has worked with and partnered with chefs like David Burke. He has a concept in New York City on his own. He's got a new location opening up in Long Island that we're going to talk about. So I am super excited to talk to Carmine DiGiovanni today. Carmine, what's going on, brother?
How are you? Thank you for having me on. Really appreciate it.
I'm doing pretty awesome, man. We just had Peter Falzo on the show earlier. Great conversation there. So I cannot wait to dive in with you and talk to you about your experience in hospitality, what you've learned, you know, so the kicks and the punches you took and how you came to who you are today. So real quick, give them a couple minutes background on how you came up in the space.
Sure. Chef entrepreneur at the moment right now, coming up through the space, worked at all the best restaurants in New York City from all the Michelin-starred guys. Fortunate enough, I came up at a younger age, whereas like all those chefs were still in the kitchen actively. So
what are some of them?
Like Daniel Boulud, Laurent Gras, Eric Ripert, Mario Batali, even, you know, like working with those guys side by side in the kitchen while they were still like in their prime of their, you know, culinary years, getting Michelin stars was, you know, inspiring for one, but also like you learn really hands-on, you know, really what it's like at that level.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So when we had lunch that day, so Carmen and I had some lunch not too long ago, and I said, you know what, after this conversation, I'd really love to have you on the show. And you talked about this restaurant that you have in New York City called Aunt Jake's, and you do this pasta making class that kind of just took off, and now it's just kind of crushing it. So talk to us about that, because in New York City, you walk 10 feet and there's another restaurant. Of course. How the hell did that whole experience come about?
Well, for, thank God of social media, because it went viral. You know, for one, it's something that we've been doing for about 10 years. My partner and I were sitting in Little Italy in our first location, and all the tourists are walking around at 3 o'clock in the afternoon with like nothing to do. How many cannolis and how many espressos could you possibly eat at that time of day? So I put a chalkboard outside, and we sat there, threw around the idea. We're like, all right, pasta class, like $20. We'll just get them in the door. We're not doing anything, and it's utilization of the space. Sure. So we chalkboard outside, and 4 o'clock, we had a line. I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is real. So fast forward to, 10 years from now, like 10 years later, we're still doing this pasta class, and it's essentially the same exact script that we've been doing for 10 years.
But it's not $20 a head anymore.
No. Well, at that point, honestly, it was like 12 people, 14 people, whatever it was. And we like threw like a big family style bowl of pasta, a big family style bowl of salad. Everyone got a scoop of pasta, scoop of salad. Now they get a 3-course meal. Okay. You know, they come in, they order wine, they order beers, up the check and whatever, like stuff like that. So now it's actually a full on base experience in the restaurant versus just like chalkboard sign outside.
Well, first of all, I didn't know it was 10 years ago that you started that. I thought this was something that you started like not too long ago.
No.
So it's funny how this has come full circle now. So now, still to this day, there's restaurants opening up all over the place. Sure. I ask a lot of restaurant owners, what makes someone go to your restaurant versus the one down the street? And the question, they just kind of look at me like dumbfounded. And they'll say things like the food quality. Right. They'll say the service. They'll say all the common things. Sure. But I want to shed light on the experience part. So you picked up on this a decade ago. Yeah. Absolutely. How important is it today? I want to hear it from the chef's mouth. Why it's so important to create an experience in your restaurant and not just rely on, the common service or quality of food bit.
Well, I think there's a lot of restaurants that, match that together. I think restaurant business itself is a perfect Venn diagram of the service, ambiance, and hospitality aspect of the business itself. However, I think in today's world where people want more experiential dining because they want to be able to share it on their social media, whatever platform that is. And I think it's experiential in the sense of, hey, look at me, not in that narcissistic way of like, hey, look what I'm doing. It's like my life is great. I'm having fun, and we, at the restaurant, we really promote that, that fun atmosphere, between the music, the ambiance, the service, and it really, why someone would come to me versus a lot of these impasta, pun intended there, pasta classes that are out there and like have copied our brands so many times over and over. Whereas like we are truly a hands-on experience. Like the guest gets involved making the dough, making the shapes, cutting the pasta, and they take it home with them.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of these other guys, they're actually serving you the pasta in class that you're making, which is highly illegal, from the health department standpoint of view, and it's just non-sanitary, So, we are a legitimate operation that's been open, doing these classes for 10 years, hands-on, and it's not, and the price point is there, like we're like $65, 3-course meal with a hands-on instructor.
And you said it's at Mulberry Street?
The original location was at Mulberry Street. We closed that one after about 10 years. Okay. Like landlord wanted to jack up the rent. He saw how successful we were, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, 45% more.
I want a piece. Yeah, I want a piece. So where is Aunt Jake's? Just let everybody know.
We're at 1555 2nd Avenue, so that's on the Upper East Side. That's like 81st and 2nd.
Oh, beautiful. Nice area over there. Yeah. Nice area over there. So talk to me about the new location. You got a new concept opening up in Huntington, Long Island.
Yes, Huntington.
So what's the name of it? How did it come about? Like dump, dude.
Sure. Huntington, my business partner lives out there in Huntington, so he wanted a place local by his house. He needed something to do during the day. And
because you live in Jersey City and you don't mind the commute, right?
No. It's only like 2 hours away. Traffic's not too bad. I'm looking into a Blade membership.
There you go. Yeah, that might be a good one.
So the concept is going to be Aunt Jake's as well. Same concept, same brand. We have a working formula. It works. People are really excited about it. Pretty hot concept. And honestly, for what we're doing, a lot of people compare us to the big boys out there, like the all the big Italian restaurants that are making a lot of sizzle in the pan right now.
Yeah.
And they're saying, wow, like we knock them out of the park. And I think that's just applaud to us for doing that.
Sure.
And at our price point, we're able to do that. And it's really just driven by quality ingredients.
And
funny.
A good time.
Like I walked in the kitchen the other day. It was like on whatever day it was, Tuesday, Wednesday, or whatever it was. I walk in the kitchen and like it smelled like home. It smelled like my childhood growing up. And I I called my mother and I was like, wow, I have to be doing something right. It smells like a kid when I go when I was home.
Yeah, what's funny? That's so crazy that you bring this up because this morning I'm walking into the studio here and I'm walking up the steps and I get this smell of when I was 6, 7 years old. My mother worked at a Krauser's.
Okay,
it's like a 7-Eleven.
Yep.
And before she would open the store like 5 a.m. and I would go with her and then I would walk to school from there. And it freaking smells like that Krauser's out there. And it took me back to when I was 7. Right. So I totally get how smell and aroma can bring you back to, nostalgic moments and not that like sitting on a milk crate in Krauser's is a nostalgic moment. But
it brings back a feeling, brings back a memory.
It brings back a memory, brings back a feeling, and God rest her soul.
And that's connection. That's connection.
Exactly.
And that's like what a lot of people ask me, the difference of like hospitality versus service, and like connection is the hospitality.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so you're connected, speaking of connection, you're connected to the charity No Kid Hungry. And I actually just heard about this charity on the, what the hell is it called? Hospitality. What the frick is the name of the podcast? I'm blanking now. Maybe it's Hospitality Authority podcast or whatever.
Sure.
But they were talking about, and they had like Chipotle, I think is involved. Like some big names are involved. Yeah. Talk to me about No Kid Hungry and how'd you get involved in it?
Well, the irony is that one of the ladies that's involved with it, her uncle, she lives in the building, that we're in. So like she was just moving into the building, I was like, oh, welcome to the building. I was standing outside, between classes or whatever, having a joke or whatever. And all of a sudden she's, loading all her stuff. I, held the door open for a second. I was like, she just came down. She's like, introduced herself. I was like, great. I was like, this is something that we want to be a part of.
Yeah.
So something I'm putting together right now is like a red sauce and red bottoms. I want to kind of partner up with Louis Vuitton on this one and do like red sauce and Christian Louis Vuitton kind of collaboration. Something like, I like to do things big, and with No Kid Hungry, they really,
And what is it? Just for people that don't know.
It's a charity about, helping kids like learn about one, nutrition, but also like starving children in the world, you know, and they really focus here on America a lot, which I like. But also part of that, I want to take it a step further and kind of like partner and collab with schools to get into the nutritional mindset of the children at a young age.
Okay.
You know, whereas like I feel like I want to make big impacts, not just drops in a bucket. You know, I want to make a big impact, so it's instilled at a young age where, you know, people learn how to cook. And I think it's a really good part about Jake's is because they're common ingredients. Like we're starting with 1 cup of flour, 2 eggs.
Yeah.
And you could really make that for pennies on a dollar.
Yeah.
You know, at home.
Yeah.
And you have some fresh pasta.
But real quick, Aunt Jake's, like, is that your Aunt Jake? Like,
where'd
that come from?
I have an Aunt Jacqueline.
Okay.
Her nickname was Jake.
Okay.
So therefore, you know, she used to cook for some, let's just say, businessmen of New York City.
Okay.
They were just hanging at her house, smoking cigars, drinking wine. And they didn't want to upset their wives. So they said they were at Jake's house, not Jacqueline's house.
I love it. I love the old school mentality. I love it. I love it. I love it. If you had to describe the personality of the Aunt Jake's brand, how would you describe it?
How would I describe it? You know, fun, edgy, you know, in your face, kind of just a fun brand. You know, that's really what it is. It's fast casual with a high-end experience.
Yeah, I feel like when people get involved, it brings on a whole different vibe, right?
Right. Like what I like to do is any kind of restaurant that we're building or any kind of concept, I like to put like 2 words that really don't belong together and put them together. Like, and the 2 words that I put together for Jake's was serious and cool. You know, because like, and when we wanted to be a serious restaurant, serious concept, you know, with the food, but we also wanted to be cool. Like we didn't want to be like too pretentious. We didn't want to be this like big, overly theatrical restaurant, if you will. Yeah,
no, that makes sense. So, you know, every episode when I have a guest, I have an intake form that I have you guys fill out, right? And it gives me some information about you so I could come up with some great questions. You had mentioned that social media is a big proponent of how, you know, you're gaining exposure and awareness, not only to your personal brand, but to your brands that you have established. What do you think is working right now in social media world as far as content goes?
Social media is always tricky because one, it's always changing the algorithm and stuff like that. So you have your challenges there. But the attention span of people is always changing. Like right now, I think the attention span of someone is 7 seconds.
It's great. I think it's less than that. It's great. That was like 10 years ago, but nuts, right?
So like it's really capturing them, you know, and what captures them. I think hands-on videos of like how to, you know, learning videos. I think that will capture someone's attention, you know, without being creepy. I think, you know, this one guy does it really well. Like, whereas his content while cooking is like a little risque, a little sexual, if you will. You know, the way he like handles things in the food. But like, listen, the guy trends and like he's got millions and millions of followers. But like, guess
doing something right, I guess.
Like when it works, you know.
Yeah.
And he's a great looking guy too. Like just great looking guy doing like some like weird, kind of like provocative things with food, and like it looks great. You know, for content. But you know what? Overall, like I think that captures people, and they're like, what is this guy up to next? You know, like what is he up to next? You know, they just want to constantly see like how far he's going to push the envelope.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's so funny that you bring that up because so we follow, you know, me and my buddies, we're all foodies and stuff, and we're always following different TikToks and Instagrams. And there's this girl from Italy. She's drop dead gorgeous, and she speaks no English. Right. And she makes pizza. That's her thing. She makes all different types of pizza. He sends me a video of her, a reel. Right. She grabbed this gagoots. And if you know what a gagoots is, but if you don't know what a gagoots is, it's a giant cucumber. Right. And the way she grabbed it, I'm embarrassing myself right now. The way I said, Jesus Christ, if she ever grabbed my gagoots like that, I'd be on another planet.
Oh, of course. And that's what's going like viral, and that's what people like are sharing with their friends.
And I mean, but her pizza looks delicious. I'm not going to take that away from her.
Of course.
Right? But funny as hell that you said that. I mean, yes. I mean, listen, sex sold, you know, for you know, as long as television.
It's the biggest industry that no one talks about.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Oh my God. All right. I digress. We got to get back into some serious shit here. So you have a pretty big personal brand, I would say, right? I've seen you work at some locations close to my house, and I saw what you were doing on their social media and stuff, and it was funny. I really enjoyed it because I said, and that's kind of how we started to link up. I mean, I reached out to you and I said, I see what you're doing. And I really resonate with it because it's what needs to be done in 2025, right? When people interact with your personal brand as well as the brands that you are operating, what do you want to leave behind? Like, what do you want them to feel after they experience you and the restaurant?
I want them to feel good. I want them to feel that warm, fuzzy feeling of feel-good hospitality, great service, great experience, price point, value. I want them to feel everything. Yeah. You know, like I have some friends that are in the restaurant business that complain about like going out to certain restaurants because of the price point being so high. However, you know, I combat that with, but did you account for the amuse-bouche you got, the little petit four that you got, the, you know, the coat check person, to this, to that, like all these little ancillary things that add up to that experience that you're actually paying for, but it's not exactly itemized on the bill, right? You know, like people come to my restaurant, they're like, you don't have a coat check? I'm like, dude, we're a $60 experience. No, we don't have a coat check. Like, coat checks are like 110 and up. And I just want to say that to people.
Oh my goodness.
But it's like, there's certain expectations that you have perceived in your head if you're paying for a certain value. So like my biggest thing is like, you know, quality is only in question when the perception of value is absent. You know, and like with my brand, I feel like we really deliver on all of those aspects in that Venn diagram of the service, hospitality, and, you know, food quality.
No, nice. Do you think what you are communicating is translating over? Do you feel like it gets challenging sometimes and you have to kind of?
No, I think there are challenges to, you know, getting the brand message out there more, and I think that's due to you know, what people are sharing, you know, what goes viral, right? Because, you know, while we're doing the class, people are recording all the time. So if, you know, there you have a fraudulent slip, if you slip up something, and people chop things up and edit a little bit. And so it's like really, well, that really wasn't said like that, you know, versus, and it's like, you really can't, you know, pull down or, you know, undo what's already done out there in the world, right?
Oh, wow.
Like
That's
you can pull it down for spam, you can block it, this and that, but like it's still out there somewhere. It's living.
Yeah. What drives the most traffic for your personal brand and the brand? I'm tying in your personal brand as well as this because I see you out there, you know, you're present. And I think it's really important that people understand that a lot of times people will come and dine at your place because it's how you, the person behind the brand, made them feel, right?
No,
so
absolutely.
What has worked for you personally on social media that you could share with another restaurant owner or operator or chef?
I think it's approachability. You know, that really just that you're, you know, stay humble, like leave the ego at the door, be approachable, you know. And it's really like the guest makes the effort to go to your door. You have to make the effort to go to the guest door, you know, and that guest door is the level of approachability of accommodations, you know, because there's no shortage of restaurants out there.
No, we just talked about that.
And there's no extra guests. You know, there's no pocket full of extra guests that are going to walk in on a Friday night. You know, the busload of nuns, they ain't coming.
That's the first time I heard that, but no, you're right. You're right. So you meeting them halfway and being approachable. I like that. I mean, I think
like breaking down the wall of like, you know, there are people ask me all the time if I watch The Bear, you know. I don't watch any like really food related stuff. You know, R.I.P. Anthony Bourdain. I thought he was great at what he did, and you know how he emulated the real pressures of the kitchen and style of any place that he was traveling to. But I feel like The Bear is the show is very depicted on that chef-driven, egotistical, like rah moment. And it's like, yeah, you can be that person, but you know, if that's how your guests see you, it's not a really good look. I feel.
Interesting.
You know, yeah, I was that guy probably 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, but through maturity, I've changed and you know, evolved.
I hear that a lot now. So I what book did I just read? Oh, I'm not trying to be difficult. Drew Ripert, right?
Yep.
He owned Nobu, Tribeca Grill, Montrachet. Yeah,
great guy. Drew's amazing, pioneer in the restaurant business.
Yes. So he had mentioned something like back in the day, that's how you came up. It was like a right event. It was like a cross of entry, right? You got the pans thrown at you. You got food thrown at you. It's not so much the case anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Like as chefs, we need to mentor. We need to teach, you know. And people ask me all the time, like, what does a chef mean to you? I said, and a chef means to me is making great chefs.
That's awesome.
You're a chef, you have to make great chefs.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you always hear, I came up under, and that makes a lot of sense. So let me ask you this. I want to stick on the social media marketing thing for 1 second more. What absolutely freaking frustrates the hell out of you that you see on social media right now that you're just like, why?
all the dumb shit that goes viral of a woman or a couple dancing in their kitchen, like throwing food around, or like a baby unboxing something. It's like, why is this even on my feed? Like, I can't get back those 3 seconds that I just wasted on this. Like,
right.
But like, I'm watching it, and then the worst part is I'm sending it to like 10 other people. I'm like, I just suffered through this, so you're going to suffer through it too.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, some of that mindless, pointless stuff. And like, I'm a huge proponent of it myself. I mean, I can't do the skits. I just can't. I can't get myself to do it. And I don't want to be known for that. I really don't. I'd rather be known for what came out of my mouth than, me doing jumping jacks and doing something silly, you know what I mean? Whatever it is. Right. Let's shift gears a little bit, go into a little bit more of a marketing conversation, because this podcast is very driven around marketing, branding. Sure. That's what I know, right? What are some of the more challenging marketing initiatives that you've faced in the past, and maybe what you're currently facing with the new launch of Aunt Jake's in Long Island?
Challenging parts is always learning what the new algorithm is pushing out there. Which I think before, the pay to play on social media worked a lot. However, I don't think nowadays it does, because you could throw dollars at ads all day. But I think people are starting to see, that little ad thing in the corner or the little asterisk, and they don't pay attention to it, or sponsored. So I think that is something that's people aren't really looking at anymore. We're ignoring. It's almost like a spam call. Like, funny thing about like YouTube, for example, like, big companies pay YouTube for ads. However, we as the public pay to remove the ads. Think about that business model for a second, right?
Listen, I pay for YouTube now because I just couldn't take it anymore.
Right. It's like when YouTube started with like the one ad. And it was like 2 ads. And it's like, YouTube's really just doing a social presence of like testing our patience. How many ads are we actually going to put up with before we start paying for it?
And sure shit, they got me at for $11 a month. I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't. I listened to a lot of meditation stuff and things like that. And when I'm sitting, 5 o'clock in the morning listening to a meditation, and I get a fucking ad for like Target, that's not gonna, that just kills my whole.
What if the Target ad was like based on meditation, like while you're meditating?
Then I'd say it was a good placement.
Get on target.
Then I would say it was a good placement, right?
Make sure your brain is on target.
But unbelievable.
It's almost like a cryptic meditation of like getting you to go to Target.
Yeah, and it probably would have worked.
Right.
It probably would have worked. So I've worked with a lot of multi-location operators and chefs, and one of the things I hear a lot from them is when they go to open up a new location, whether it's the same brand or something different, they feel like they're starting over.
Of course.
So talk to me about that. How do you kind of navigate through that? Because when we mention the marketing word, the M word, right? A lot of people are like, oh boy, do we have to go there? Because a lot of the stuff that they have tried, like, haven't worked, right? So it's a big heavy conversation nobody really wants to have. I'd rather just open. So talk to me about how you guys navigate that when you open up a second, third, fourth location.
Well, I think it's important to have brand language, and I think also what a lot of chefs and a lot of restaurateurs do, this business is very transient. So like we'll spin through, like, unfortunately, restaurants people will spin through marketing companies like 10 a year, 10 a month, which is crazy because like it takes a long time to actually see the ROI on marketing. It takes a long time to develop a brand language. Like Aunt Jake's wasn't a brand language right out of the box.
No.
It took a long time to get where we are today, and we're 10 years in the game. So opening a new location, obviously you're going to have challenges because you have a new demographic, you have a new area. It's our first location in the burbs, so to speak. So, but understanding what our brand language is and knowing that and presenting it in the best, truest form to our new demographic of an audience, right? It's not trying to be something we're not.
Yeah.
But also I feel like the challenges of changing that marketing team, like all of a sudden you're doing something for a month. Oh, that didn't work. Let's change again. And if you're constantly changing, people don't know who you are. Yeah. And there's only so many people that could pull that off, like Britney Spears, Madonna, those people. But you're not them.
No.
I'm sorry. You're not this unicorn of success that, you're going to pull off this, one-hit wonder, and then next month another one-hit wonder. Yeah. Like, people want to see consistency. And that happens. It translates into your staff, the culture in the restaurant. If you're constantly changing, and not in a good way, just like throwing stuff at a wall, your guests see it.
Yeah. Because they say, what are you?
Right.
I hear a lot of, I have a lot of friends, they know what I do, and they say, we meant to go to that restaurant, but I can't really figure out what they are. Yeah. What they're trying to be.
My former business partner, he would throw stuff at the wall, like Taco Tuesday, Burger Wednesday, Wine Down Thursday, and all of a sudden it's like, what are you? And you know what? I would have that conversation with him all the time. I'm like, just be the brand that we are.
Yeah.
Well, we need to get guests in the door. Yeah, I understand that, but the guests in, let's say, Rumson per se, are not coming in for $4 tacos.
Yeah,
they're billionaires.
Yeah. You're almost, and we had this conversation at lunch, right? It was like you dummy down the brand,
right?
And then people start to say to themselves, like, "Do I belong there?"
Right? No, of course.
Right? They ask that question. Do I want to be seen there? Because let's face it, we're in the tri-state area, and I hate to admit this, but there's a lot of perception out there of, I want to be at the hottest new spot. I want to be seen here. And not that this doesn't go on in other parts of the country, but it is very heavily ingrained around here.
Branding is important.
Right.
Branding is important.
Right.
There's a reason why you walk out of Hermes with a bright orange bag versus walking out of Target, with a black bag.
That's right. So getting back to the social media conversation again, right? This is my world. This is what I live in, and I'm always trying to keep up on trends. And we know that user-generated content these days are extremely effective. When somebody tags you or a dish at one of your restaurants, are you quick to share that? Or is there some, how do you, because, we manage a few accounts, and, I've been told a couple times, why'd you reshare that? So I wanted to get your thoughts on this.
I try to reshare as much as possible because, one, I know it means a lot to the guest.
Right.
For one. So that goes first and foremost. However, it has to look a certain way. Right. Okay. If it's a half-eaten portion of something, I'm probably not going to share it.
Right.
Only because I had guests the other night comment on burrata, and said, "Oh my God, the cheese looks raw." It's burrata, but they comment underneath said the cheese looks raw. Now I have to comment and say it's burrata. It's supposed to have a soft center, and they're like, "Okay, thank you." Yeah. But that's something that went out there. Granted, I caught it quick enough that I had to comment.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's really has to look well. Has to look good.
Yeah.
Because it's my brand. It's out there.
Right. And I think that's important. And that's where I get caught up. You want to engage and acknowledge the guest. So we put something in place where if it's not as an attractive dish, we will comment, we will address them privately. We will respond to the story. We're just not going to share it. Right. Or if you have to share it if you have to chime in the comments, like you said. But I think the point I want everybody to hammer down on is respond. Don't just let it sit out there.
Oh, absolutely. Respond. You have to respond. Whether it's a Google response on the reviews, whether it's Yelp, any of these platforms, you have to respond because it shows that you're engaged and people want to see engagement.
Okay, so you're constantly on the move. You're opening up one location after the next. You're establishing your consultancy. You're establishing your personal brand.
Sure.
What's one thing you haven't done yet that you are excited to be working on as far as marketing and branding yourself and the brands that you are creating?
Other than spending more time with my girlfriend.
That's a plug. That's a plug. That's a good one. She knows because she's here.
To be very honest with you, I don't have an answer for that because everything that I want to work on, I work on. There's a lot of projects that I turn away, and I don't do things. Fortunately enough, I worked hard enough in this industry, and I'm successful enough that I could turn things away. Like if it's not on brand with me, it doesn't align with my ethos of what I want to do, I don't do it. You know, like people ask me all the time, like, aren't you bored of this pasta thing yet? And I'm like, no, every day is a new day. Like it's 28 people. We do 3 sessions a day. I'm like, every day, I'm like, every hour, it's a new 28 characters, new 28 people, you know? So like, not that I teach a lot of classes or anything, but it's just the flow of it, you know, is very entertaining to me, you know? So like, whereas if it's not something I want to do, I just don't do it.
Yeah.
You know,
it only took us 45 years to actually get there, right?
Yeah. You know, like there's a lot of,
because I feel you on that, but it took me a long time to get there.
There's a lot of chefs out there. There's a lot of consultants out there that, you know, and I feel like there's a lot of consultants out there that should not be called consultants. They should be called insultants because they go into properties, they sit there, they kick up everything that this person built for millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, no, do it like this, do it like this. And then all of a sudden they take their money, they get paid, they leave. But it's like, guess what? Like, understand their position first.
Yes.
Like usually I take on a project, I don't do anything for like at least a month and a half.
Yeah.
I go in, analyze.
Yeah.
I strategically plan exactly what I'm going to do.
Smart.
I present it, and then I go about it methodically.
Smart.
Versus just going in there, upsetting the whole apple cart.
Yeah.
Like if you have to go in there and upset the whole apple cart, chances are you're not doing the job that's going to stick to the wall, or the job doesn't need you, or they're just in a dire straight situation where like they're just grasping at straws.
Yeah. Yeah. I always say that. And I'm happy you highlighted that. And I got one more question for you, but I'm happy you highlighted that. If somebody comes in without diagnosing before they prescribe, I think you are in for a disaster.
Absolutely.
You know, and I always use the doctor analogy because that's how I was taught as a strategist was you have to go in and fully discover the issue before you could diagnose. Because if you went in, you know, I had this happened to me fucking 18 months ago. I had some shit going on in my back, and my doctor sent me to a brain surgeon, and he came in and he's like, "I'm just going to cut to the chase. You need surgery." And I was like, "Bye."
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and it's the same thing. So you know, buyer beware. Carmine said it. I'm telling you, that's it. You know, there's plenty of great consultants out there. There's plenty of great strategists out there. You just have to make sure that they do their homework before they start telling you what to do, right? That's what you're saying.
Of course.
So last question, big question. There's chefs coming up. There's operators coming up. Out of all the years that you have in this industry, what's one big piece of advice that you could give them to help create a strong and prosperous brand and restaurant?
Hard work, dedication, perseverance, persistence, you know, all those things. Yeah, they sound great. They're great sound bites. However, hospitality through and through, you know, reigns supreme in your organization, not just for your guests, but also for your employees as well. And there are so many restaurants, and I've seen it through the years where, you know, the cooks are in the kitchen sitting on milk crates, you know, or cardboard boxes eating versus, and I would encourage the staff. I'm like, no, guys, go in the dining room, like sit in the dining room and have a staff meal. Like, what, like we could do that? I'm like, no, absolutely. Oh, the owner doesn't like it. Well, I'll have a conversation with the owner. You know, like stuff like that, like hospitality. Like if you're going to be hospitable to any Joe Schmo that walks in off the street, but you're not going to be hospitable for someone that shows up at your door 5 days a week, 6 days a week, stays the extra hours, overtime, peeling carrots, cutting whatever, doing whatever.
Yeah.
You need to be hospitable throughout that whole organization.
Yeah. I'll tell you, and I'll leave you with this. I'm so happy you brought that up. Fogo de Chão, right? They had the CEO or CMO. I was listening to a podcast. I just dive into different podcasts because it's like getting an MBA, really. You get access to these people. And Fogo de Chão does a great pre-meal. They do or family meal, I should say. I'm sorry. And because they said if we can feed our team, the team will feed our guests. So, and I think that was a huge takeaway for me. And I was like, wow, I wish more people could understand that. When you treat your,
absolutely, 100%.
You know, right? It's like eating nutritious food. It's going to help your body be a better body.
Of course.
It's the same thing.
We've all been hangry. You know, we've all been angry. And like you're serving food, right? I think it's like, you know.
Carmine, what a pleasure, dude. You know, finally we got some time to sit down and chop it up, and so excited to see what you're about to do in 2026. Where can people find you?
Instagram, chef_Carmine, and also at Aunt Jake's. Well, ant.jakes.
We got to fix that handle.
No worries.
Carmine, what a pleasure, man.
Been fun.
Great to see you.
Great times.
There you have it, guys. Another episode in the books. Make sure that you like, subscribe, follow. Make sure you follow Chef Carmine. Awesome dude. Doing some amazing things. I know you're going to learn from him, and I hope you're getting some value out of these episodes. Have an amazing day, and we'll catch you on the next episode.